Welcome, everybody, to Running Strong Mind Body Connection podcast. I'm your host, Karen Bonnett-Natraj. So, this podcast was born from my deep belief that true strength doesn't come from pushing harder. It comes from aligning your body, aligning your mind, and being in the flow, not fighting ourselves. Each week, we dive into what it really means to live and lead from the inside out with powerful tools to help you shift from self sabotage to self love, from anxiety to clarity, and from stress to sustainable success. You'll hear inspiring stories, expert insights, and practical wisdom from runners, coaches, nutritionists, healers, and everyday warriors who faced challenges, found resilience, and claimed breakthrough in their own terms. So, whether you're chasing a finish line, recovering from burnout, or simply craving a deeper connection to your body, your mind, your soul, and your purpose, this is your space. This is your space to grow, laugh, heal, and run strong in every area of your life. So if you're ready to build your mental fitness, take that next step towards your peace, power, and presence. So visit my website, themindfulathletecoach.com, and upload my free gift and get on my calendar and let's connect. So if this message resonates you, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Join me on YouTube at Running Strong Mind Body Connection. And if you or someone you know has a powerful story of mind body transformation, I'd love to hear from you. Let's keep building this community of strength, connection, and transformation. So let's dive in today in my podcast. Today I have the amazing gentleman, Greg Yuen. So his story, when he was 12 and his grandmother died, Dr. Greg Yuen was thrown into his first confrontation with the prospect of death. To deal with his fear of death, he launched into a pursuit of longevity, a quest for the fountain of youth, a search for immortality. He became a physician, he specialized in psychiatry, became a licensed massage therapist, and became a Tai Chi instructor. Now, after over 40 years of experiencing spanning Western and Eastern approaches to health, he has concluded that do-in mindful self-massage is more fundamental than Tai Chi and yoga. I think it's Qigong, and in its ability to cultivate Qi, the vital force in the body. This method can perform wonders to reduce stress, promote self-healing, control pain, enhance athletic performance, provide general health maintenance, and lead to a longer, happier life. So welcome, Dr. Greg Yuen, to Running Strong. So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Karen. It's been a while getting here, and
I
I'm happy
know,
to be
right?
here.
Everything happens in the right time.
Okay. And so,
So, kind of give a little enlightenment because your biography goes from a physician, a psychiatrist, a Tai
uh,
Chi. You've had quite the array of experiences in your life to come into
right.
where you are present today.
Uh-huh.
So enlighten us
Well,
here.
okay. Well, you got to know, as you kind of mentioned, that my primary objective is longevity. And that aspect is maybe not something that everybody's looking for right at this stage in their life. They might be just like wanting to run better, in your case, of your followers. But my objective was longevity. But along that path towards longevity, I realized, you got to be healthy, right?
Right.
And being healthy, from my point of view, is all about cultivating the chi, the vital force. Okay, that's another thing that people may not be like concerned about. Like, hey, I don't really care about cultivating the chi. What is the chi anyway? I just want to run faster and run longer and, do all that kind of stuff. But I got to tell you that if you pursue the path of cultivating the chi, that all those things that you have in mind as a runner, as your objectives, will be realized much better. Okay. Let me just kind of give you a sense of the chi. Okay. You've experienced the chi. It's all around us in our daily lives, but maybe just not thinking of it as chi. Okay. So we could just say, if you rub your hands together like this, get it nice and hot, and pull it apart.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. What do you
Feel that
feel?
energy.
You feel that energy.
I
Okay.
always have.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay.
and
That's
that
that's great.
comes from my background, though, is
Right.
a Reiki master.
Right. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So you can get to the point where you can actually feel that in your legs, that kind of
Oh,
energy. You can
wow.
feel it in your legs. It's easier, I believe, for people to feel it in their hands and arms just because we're using our hands and we're more sensitive there. But with proper regular training of yourself, you can get to the point where you can feel it more in your legs. And I myself have not run long distances. The most that I've run in a race was like 8.2 miles. That's probably nothing compared to some of you guys out there. But indeed, I was able to experience as if my legs are like pistons, and my mind just goes in there to make the pistons move. So it was kind of like that kind of mind body connection, huh? And perhaps some of you runners that run long distances might also have that experience too, where you're so tired that you're so relaxed that your mind and body sort of connect, and the only thing that keeps you going is your mind. This is what you coach, I'm sure, in terms of the mind body connection. So the key is that with this mindful self massage, you're penetrating deeply down to your bones. So you're getting the chi flowing very deeply through your whole body. See, in the Tai Chi classics, they say where your mind goes, the chi goes, right? So when you're massaging yourself, you're going to get that chi to flow deeply. And then when you get trained with it repetitively, you get to the point where you can it's almost like your mind is moving your legs all the time or more times, so that you're using less muscle power. Right? It's more mind power instead of muscle power. So that's how I believe that this chi cultivation will be beneficial for runners, basically. Yeah.
That's fascinating. And that's really, um, expanding in the Eastern medicine, right? And
Yeah.
Eastern
Yeah.
philosophy, which I really love. And I think Reiki goes along that same line. So, interesting thing I'll share. Nobody knows this about me, but when I was working, I think it was a couple times a week that this Tai Chi instructor would come in. And I got to the point was I was just so into the essence and the flow of my body. Nothing else existed outside there. And it was through all these movements of the Tai Chi that I really got into the flow of it. And it was the most
Nice.
amazing feeling I
Yeah.
ever had. But then, things happened and he didn't,
Right.
he left or whatever. But it's nothing I kept doing, but it was still
Yeah.
amazing to experience that. And so you're talking about how this affects the mind, impacts the mind. So how would somebody running, what would they need to learn? What would do they need to apply this?
Well, of course, I'm going to incorporate the Do in mindful self massage. Okay, so the point is, if you do regular practice, okay, you get the maximum benefit. However, I understand most people, like I have this cheat sheet for runners that I'm going to share, or you can share with your followers,
Yes.
which presents about 10 important points that can be used by the runner. Um, uh, so, like before a race or even during a race, you can hit some of these points and you can get benefit, like a little bit of a supercharge by that, type of thing. Um, However, if from my point of view, I incorporate what I call the principle of the whole. The principle of the whole is saying that what's most valuable is to massage your whole body. Okay. Now you can get benefit from these points, but I would recommend you try to extend it further and maybe massage your whole leg or legs, if you will, and even more so if you can do the whole body. Okay. We're so easy in our usual days life. We want the quick fix. We want the silver bullet and all that. And there's value to that. But in a holistic health concept, okay, there is a certain synergy that results from doing the whole body, massaging the whole body.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so That's why I recommend, if you can, do the whole body. If you can't do the whole body, just do your legs if that's important. And then if you need to use these points, definitely use these points. You can use them, before the race, during the race, and even after the race for recovery kind of thing. I don't know if you want to talk about some of the points. We could
Yeah,
talk about
I
some.
would do, but so um kind of give a little more explanation of what your definition is the dough in. I remember hearing about
Yeah.
this when I first met you. And
Okay.
then I would love to have you share a couple of uh points or couple of things that we can apply if as we are runners.
Sure,
We're gonna
sure,
go
sure.
down the running thing because
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
um but yeah, explain where that comes from and really
Right.
deeply
Okay.
what that mean to
Okay.
me.
Okay. Okay. Do-in is a Japanese term. It is actually derived from the Chinese. They called it Dao Yin. That was the Chinese pronunciation. And the Dao Yin is an incorporation of actually movement exercises along with one section that has to do with the massage. I've kind of gotten the Do-in from the Japanese through macrobiotics. It's a discipline using the yin and yang principles, natural principles for dietary approach to things. So it's, they do a lot of brown rice and vegetables, miso soup, seaweed, that kind of thing. So I learned the Do-in through that discipline, but it was taken from the Chinese Dao-yin, which is actually a greater group of exercises, movement exercises along with the massage. But I like the massage itself because I guess because of my background in massage as well, and the idea that what's nice, what I feel nice about it is, you can do this at any time, any place. You don't have to rely on a therapist. You don't need
Hmm.
fancy equipment. Doesn't cost you a lot. And you can do the whole thing yourself. And it's really great. And just like get yourself a whole body healing right there. Boom. Okay. And then if you learn more about it, then you can do the more, segmented areas and so forth in different parts of the body. And, depending on what you're going through, you might hit certain points and that kind of thing as well.
Right.
So yeah.
How long does it
So
take to do the whole body?
well, I have like a 15-minute instructional video, but if you're going to be doing your whole body, I mean, if I do it super quickly, I could do it in 10 minutes. But that's not the idea because when you're wanting to cultivate the chi, you want to have that mindfulness. So while you're massaging, you might, after you finish a portion of your body, you just rest and you breathe. Okay. When you deep breathing, it's going to relax your body and the chi is going to flow more when you're more relaxed. Okay. So you want to kind of get the experience of the chi more. And then once you do it during your massage sequence, so it would take me maybe like 20 to 30 minutes to have a
Okay.
kind of
Yeah.
measured kind of sequence and also with some breathing and following and all that. But then you'll notice that in your daily life, when you're going through your daily life, then you can experience, a little bit of these feelings of kind of like the flow you were talking about from the Tai Chi, moving and that kind of thing. And then also like in your running as well, you can kind of be more aware and experience more of that flow and that feeling of the energy when you're running. And that'll really indicate that your mind and body are really becoming more and more connected, that type of thing. Yeah.
So without even using what you're offering here, I've done that, just focusing on my breath when I
Yeah.
run.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's an amazing feeling. And I invite anybody who's listening to this to
Yeah.
post in the notes on the YouTube
Yeah.
channel. Tell us what you do to get into the flow. But I've
Mhm.
done that when I got into focusing on my breath. When I do the mental fitness that I do is a lot
Mm.
about focusing on breath
Yeah.
that impacts our
Yeah.
body. And
Yeah.
then I would focus with this, I would count my breath connect it with my steps. And it
Hmm.
was just
Hmm.
for the longest time, actually, my pace was a minute faster.
Wow.
And
Great.
it
Great.
wasn't harder, it was
Yeah.
easier. It was just
Well,
flowing with
Well,
that.
well, I'd like you to consider the benefits of the massage portion because
Sure.
you're penetrating deeply, okay? And this is why I say that it is better than Tai Chi, Qigong, or yoga. I'd like to have a nice arguing debate with practice. I mean, I'm a Tai Chi instructor, so I mean, I know about Tai Chi. I mean, you do cultivate the chi with that, and with your breathing, you're obviously getting the results you want. But really consider, if you really get mindful of deep into your body, that that might even amplify your benefits by getting that
Sure.
chi and mind-body connection even more comprehensively through your whole body. You
I
know,
love that.
so that's what it might be able to offer you in that regard. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so can you share a couple of tools for
points.
someone to
Oh yeah,
hear
let's
to take
yeah,
away?
we'll share a couple points. Hey, the key point that I think and that I would say is stomach 36. Okay, it's on the cheat sheet. Stomach 36, and then if
So
you need to look,
let me interrupt here. So the cheat
yeah,
sheet is gonna be on the show notes. It will be
okay,
on the YouTube. It will be on the show notes. So you guys will get that. So this is on
okay,
Apple, so people can't see the cheat sheet
yeah,
right now. So we're not going to bring it
right,
up, but
okay.
we'll post in the show notes.
But what you can do is just you can Google search ST36, okay,
Okay.
and ST36 is stomach 36 on the stomach meridian. The meridian is the energy channel in the acupuncture system. And I consider it very important because it's not only for runners, but just for your whole body. It's what we call a tonifying point. A tonifying point is like when you're kind of like little low energy and you hit a tonifying point, it kind of revs you up a bit. You got feeling more energetic. And what's cool about this point is called in Chinese san. Uh, it's called. I'm sorry. It's called Chu San Li. Chu San Li. Chu is leg, San is 3, and Li is miles. Okay, so the story kind of goes. There's a couple different stories. I'll share a couple of the stories, but one is that when somebody is weary, they press this point, and then you can go another 3 miles. That's what 3 mile point. They call it the 3 mile point. Okay.
Okay.
And in the olden days, they said the soldiers would get, exhausted and they would kneel, and somehow the sash, then there was a stone or something that was pressing on this point when they kneeled, and that gave them another 3 more miles that they could walk too. So that's the kind of thing. And then the simple explanation is there's the location is called Sun, it's spelled C-U-N, but pronounced kind of Sun in Chinese. 3 sun below your kneecap is the location of that point. It's actually 4 finger breaths, but it's 3 sun below your kneecap. So that's why another way, simple way that they call it a 3 mile, but it's just like 3 sun, which is like, a bunch of inches below your kneecap to locate the point. So it's kind of a cool story, I thought, for you
It
guys.
is a cool story.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, but think about it. When you're having a rough time, whack that point. That point can help with digestion, any kind of problems with digestion, constipation, diarrhea, stomach ache, nausea. It's a great point for that. It's for immunity. It can be helpful as well. So it's a great point for the whole body in
So are
general.
you still talking about the stomach 3?
Stomach 36. Stomach
Stomach
36.
36. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what do
that
you
point.
do?
What do you do when
Yeah.
with it? If you need to, just press it. And then in the cheat sheet, I say press it for 30 to 60 seconds. But you got to get to know that point. Okay, get to know that point, and you can kind of get to your own level of stimulation. Whether you want to like do it like maybe like press it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Find your own kind of level of stimulation where you feel like it's making a difference. But in the beginning, you should press it long so you get an idea of what it's like to press that point.
Okay.
What it feels like and all that.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Another point I could share with you is gallbladder 30. It's GB 30. And GB 30 when you look it up in Google search. So that one is kind of like on the lateral part of your butt. Lateral part of your butt. It's kind of in between your sacrum to your femur bone, the head of your femur. It's right kind of there on your butt. Okay. That you can use for hip pains. It could help with leg cramps. You could help with knee pain. You could help with back pain. So anything kind of a lot of stuff in the leg can be very, very beneficial with that point as well, you know, and if you're running and all like that.
Hey, what about liver?
Liver. What brings up the liver? I'm curious. Why do you say liver?
Because sometimes the liver is mm, now what compromised or it's taxed
Is
when you're
tax
running
in?
running a
Oh,
hundred
really?
miles.
Interesting. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, good point. Well, there's a couple points that I think of in terms of the liver. The first one that I think of, it's not on the cheat sheet, but it's liver 3. So it'd be LV3 if you look it up. And it is kind of located in, if your foot is like this, it's in the web between your big toe. Oops, sorry, your big toe and your second toe. So it's
Okay.
right kind of in there. Okay,
Oh,
LV3, yeah, and
okay.
that is good for helping the liver, and also it helps with irritability. People get a little irritable and stuff like that. It could be helpful with that, and yeah, so
So
it's
those
a good
grumpy runners,
one.
we need to take their
Yeah,
shoes off and
what
press between the.
you want to calm them down a little bit, and if they're frustrated, yeah, you press that point. Like a bit. The other point that I think might be helpful is the spleen 6 point, SP6, and that one is located. Oh, let's see. Okay, let's say you have your medial ankle bone, right, and you kind of put 4 fingers, like you put the bottom finger right on top of the prominence of your ankle bone, right on the ankle bone, and then 4 fingers up in the middle of your lower leg, the inner aspect of your, I should say, the medial aspect of your leg. It's the spleen 6 point. It's in Chinese. It's called San Yin Jiao, which is the meeting of the 3 yin meridians. Okay, so the yin meridians are the liver, the spleen, and the kidneys. And I think this particular point is really great. It's a tonifying point again, low energy, it'll tonify you, good for immunity as well. But it kind of harmonizes the liver, spleen, and the kidney, and it's in the kind of like inner aspect of your leg. So you got anything going on in the, like kind of the, like here's the leg. Okay, this is not the leg, but the arm, but the inner aspect, this inner part, the medial section of your leg, it could be a benefit if you press that point. So it's all along
So
that.
explain it to me. I'm being lame here. So
Yeah.
it's on the inside of your
Well,
ankle.
okay, your leg, okay, medial is towards the center of your body,
Yes.
lateral is in the outer part. So
Outside.
the medial aspect of your leg, if there's anything going on there, that spleen 6 point could be of benefit, is what I would say. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Because I think that that would be, I mean, when doing these long runs, especially the people who run really, really fast,
Yeah.
they're taxing their they're taxing their body inside.
Oh, yeah.
And it
Yeah.
impacts their kidneys, it impacts their liver, it
Yeah.
impacts
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
digestion and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
that goes on inside of us.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
there's the people, I mean, we're not running as fast, but still 100 miles, you're out there, you're on your feet for
Oh,
28 to
crazy.
30 hours or
Crazy.
longer. And what
Right.
about the people running the 250?
Right. Right.
200 miles.
I'm not going to even imagine that. I'm already getting tired thinking about it, Karen. Honestly.
On those, they get to some people sleep. But anyways,
Yeah.
I'm super fascinated with this because um, applying this when we're out there running.
Yeah, no, I mean, as I'm saying, to me, you want to be proactive in
Right.
your care of the body. Okay.
Yep.
Like I have a thing, I have concern about people that are in fitness, and I'm sure you're aware of this too. People are so much into fitness, they're not into care or recovery or restoration or regeneration of their body and the
Right.
self-healing aspect. You've got to balance that. Otherwise, you're not gonna last as a runner. I know so many people that were into running, they can't run nowadays, I mean, they don't
I
they
know
didn't
they
take
get
care.
all broken.
Yeah, they're all busted up. So the whole point is, regular care of your body is going to ensure longevity as a
Yep.
runner, number one,
Yep.
but also gonna lead to, from my point of view, peak performance, because your energy is going to be flowing readily. You're going to be into the flow. You're going to get a lot of that going. It'll be so beneficial. And that's why I believe in the whole body. You gotta care for the whole body. It's not just one organ or the other organ. They all interact in Chinese medicine.
And
Yeah.
that's along the same, I mean, I'm on the same path as you. We have to care for it's a mind-body connection. And so
Uh-huh.
so many people are here at
Right.
the neck and
Right.
above, and they
Right.
forget
Right.
they're not paying attention to the rest of their body. And
Definitely.
your example
Definitely.
too is like, well, I'm just going to keep running because I feel so good or whatever. I don't want to lose, I want to lose weight or blah blah blah.
Right. Right.
Yet they find out that now they're broken and they can't ever run again because they
Right.
didn't take
Right.
care of the whole body.
Right.
I
Yeah.
want to
That's
share
necessary.
I
That's
want to share an
necessary.
experience with you because you're talking about the chi, you're talking about it's acupuncture, the meridian points.
Mm-hmm.
And I've
Mm-hmm.
been to acupuncture a few times. I found it to just be really fascinating because I
Mm-hmm.
don't know anything about it. But the last time I
Yeah.
went was when I sprained my ankle really bad.
Okay.
And everybody, our bodies are energy. We are energetic beings, and it's energy in our bodies that's trying to heal. I really believe our bodies are meant to heal and survive and thrive. Well, it was 2 weeks into this grade 2 sprain, and I went to this acupuncturist, and she put the needles around the swollen ankle. And there's a lot down there, and then up the meridians, and then on different parts of my body, which I found fascinating. But what I felt was the swelling in the ankle was pretty big. But what I felt was all this energy in my ankle just exploding out of there. It was the weirdest feeling, but it was just that it was energy. That's what it was. It was energy. It was
Yeah.
tainted energy. It was built up energy. And she said that my ankle was so hard, she had a hard time putting the needles in. But and then my whole body just I could just feel like that whole ankle was like the energy was it was just dissipating. It was just, and
Yeah.
then when I stood up again, it got swollen.
Yeah.
But it was fascinating. It was
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
fascinating
Yeah.
experience.
Well, what I would say, and in all due respect to acupuncturists and all that, is my feeling is if you do regular do-in practice,
Yeah,
that you will not have a occasion to need an acupuncturist. It's not to say that you might not want to use an acupuncturist,
right,
but if you got the energy flowing within yourself,
right.
you won't need them essentially. And since we're talking about swelling, and I'll just talk a little bit aside here about swelling. I consider swelling a good thing for the body. Okay, I think too often people are into icing things, and I'm really not in favor of that personally. And you've got more experience with that. I'd like to sort of hear your opinion on it. But my feeling about it is the body is doing the natural thing, and the swelling is necessary to immobilize the situation so that the healing can take place. And all the juice that's going in there is to help to heal it. Now, perhaps the acupuncture will speed up and facilitate that healing process such that the swelling will go down. But indeed, you do need that swelling process. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that.
I hear what you're saying, and I relate that to aspirin or Tylenol or
Uh,
ibuprofen. We want
okay.
to cover, we want to
Right,
want to
right,
put a lid on that pain
right,
and not let
right.
it go out. But what you're doing is not allowing the body to do the natural thing that it's meant to
Natural.
do to heal.
Great. I'm glad you say that. I'm glad you say
But
that.
though
We're on the same page.
I did ice sometimes because it felt good.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
cooled it
Of
down. It
course, of
felt
course.
good,
Yeah,
and I
it
raised
hurts
it.
when it's swollen like that, kind
But
of
and
thing.
then
Yeah.
too, I feel that and please add to this, but I went to a massage therapist, and there's so much scar tissue built up into that. So what would you speak to that? So in
Scar
that
tissue.
area, the scar tissue was
In,
all because it never did move out of the area properly, I guess. Because
wait,
it's
scar tissue in your ankle.
yeah,
In your ankle. Okay. Well, what I would say about that is, once the scar tissue is formed, it's a little tough to get through that. However, I don't think it's impossible. I just think you need to have like regular care and attention to that thing. And the more and more that you bring your own mindfulness there and you get the chi sort of flowing throughout there, it will get better. I don't think it's impossible, but it just may be
right.
more difficult once the scar tissue has taken hold there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple of massage people go in there and just open it up and release it.
Yeah.
And then I do it
But
myself, but
yeah, I think, yeah, you do it yourself. Just you have to have confidence and realize that what you're doing is very value and you're really adding to the healing process by working on it and making that mind body connection. You don't just, just out there doing it when thinking about what you're going to have for breakfast. You got to you got to be there. You got to be there.
Oh,
That's how
so the
that
same
energy.
thing that I teach is like be in the present moment,
That's it. That's
right?
it.
Be
Exactly.
in the connection of what your mind is focusing on your body
And
and what are you feeling.
that's why though in mindful self massage is also good for stress reduction. If you're worried about a race,
Love
just
that.
get into your body,
Yeah.
feel your body, and don't be thinking about, are you going to win, not going to win, or who you're competing against, or all the stuff in the way of you making it, the rain, you got to just be in your body, and the mindful self massage will keep you informed in that way,
Yeah.
be more regularly there. Yeah.
Fascinating. So, oh my gosh, I'd love to learn more.
Well, I have a workshop coming
Tell
up.
us about your workshop. We'll
Okay.
post that.
Okay. Yeah. The workshop is about a 2.5 hour workshop. It's going to be virtual. And in the workshop, you'll learn the whole massage sequence to do the whole body, hit all the points and meridians and that kind of thing. You learn about what I call the principle of the whole, which we sort of touched on, and how to apply that. You're going to learn the 10, it's going to be included the 10 points for runners that are going to be tailored for runners. And then also you'll discover what I call gold points, which are those points in your body that need more attention and that kind of thing. Yeah. And so you'll have this sequence that you can take for the rest of your life. It's like,
Right.
it's like learning a Tai Chi sequence, and then, knowing, I mean, I've been teaching Tai Chi over 40 years, and I'm still, learning in that same sequence. I mean, it's not something new. I mean, a lot of schools, they do a whole lot of different dances, if you will, and all that. I tend to not be so concerned about the various types of things. I just like to focus on one thing and really perfect it. So I'm kind of more in that school of thought there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. When is your workshop?
It's going to be on November 1st, from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time,
Mm, Miss-
the Saturday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Greg, this is exciting. And so do you have a link for the workshop? And
Yeah,
um,
actually, I sent it to you, but I
okay.
can,
All right.
I,
I I'll post the link into
yeah,
the
I think
show
you
notes
have
and
it. If
everything.
you don't have it, let me know. But I did send it to you in the
You
email.
did. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Greg, thank you. What would be your word of advice, last words of advice for the podcast that you would
Yeah.
share with everybody?
Just give attention to your body and know that as you give attention to your body, you are loving your body. And as you love your body's going to love you back, and it's going to make you run faster and run longer. That's it.
But just imagine that, the feeling of love in your body. What a great energy, raising those
Yeah.
frequencies.
Yeah. Why aren't we not loving every
I
spot of our
know,
body?
right?
This is what you're using your body all the time to run. If you love it, it's going to love you back.
Exactly. And I'm all in that longevity too.
Okay, yeah, that's my main objective.
I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Greg. I really appreciate this.
Well, I am having a great time with you, Karen, and I hope that your fellow runners will benefit from what I have to say. Yeah.
I'm sure they will. Thank you so much.